Greetings internet, it's Monica, and today I'm going to be talking about a subject that I am super passionate about, and that is journaling. I love journaling. It is something that I find so soothing, and I also just love having memories in my journal to look back on, especially when I'm traveling. So it's something that has been a huge part of my life throughout the years in various forms. I feel like one form of journaling for me are my vlogs here on YouTube. I view those as another form of journaling. And then of course, growing up, I always had a journal that I would write in at various stages. I never finished a journal growing up, but I have lots of different sort of moments of my life that I, would one day just be like, for this couple of months this year, I'm gonna keep a journal. I feel like that happened to me every year growing up. I always get lots of questions whenever I post images of my journal, either here on YouTube or on my Instagram account, to talk more about my process and the supplies that I use and all of that. So I thought that this would be a helpful, maybe interesting video for those of you who are also interested in journaling or are just curious to see what I love most, what supplies I love most when it comes to journaling. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about all of those favorite supplies. I know I'll get this question, so yes, I will be linking as many things as possible in the description box below. So if you're looking for something, check there. So to kick things off, I thought I would talk about my actual journal. So this is my journal. It is from the brand Mishmash, and I picked it up here in New York City at a store called Goods for the Study. And it's just this simple blue notebook with silver metallic edges, and I put a little typewriter sticker on the front. And I love this journal because one, I love the size of it. It's a bit bigger than your typical journal. For me, the bullet journal size, the Leuchtturm, I think that's the journal that everyone uses for that, just too small for me, or Moleskin's too small. I need a bit more room because I really like to do a sort of collage style with my journaling, and I just like to have space to play. So yeah, I really like the size of this one, and I also love that it lays flat, which is so helpful just when you're journaling, to be able to do full spreads. And yeah, I love that part of it. And I can give a little quick glimpse into some of the pages in here. So sometimes I'm feeling very verbose, and so I'll write lots. But I tend to always have lots of photos in my journal. Sometimes I'll paste in extra pages, lots of mementos. And yeah, I like to have basically a part scrapbook, part diary is basically the vibe I'm going for. Which brings me to my first chunk of supplies, which are basically other journals. So like I said, I really like to just be able to scribble down my thoughts anywhere I am, whether I'm traveling or on the train or at work, wherever I am. If I'm just feeling something and I need to get it out, for me, writing something out is so therapeutic, and it's the best way for me to sort of process a lot of my thoughts and my anxieties. So I always have different pads of paper on hand for that. So if I'm just sort of with my bag, I always have this little notebook, which is a Shooky notebook from BT21. Sometimes I'll just write a bunch of stuff, and then I'll paste that in if I'm I need to just write something down and get it out. I also love this one, which I got from Muji, and I put a little clover sticker on it. And again, I just use this to write various notes. Some I put in my journal, some that stay in here. And I also use it to test out pens and washi tapes and stuff like that. I love this little notebook. I love this. I use this to, sometimes I'll write on it. Sometimes I'll just use it to add texture. It is from the brand Mon Carnet de Poche, and I really like it because, again, it adds a little bit more interest and texture to a page, and it's also another thing that I can kind of write a note down on and insert it into my journal later. Because yeah, I rarely ever write directly onto the page of my journal. I typically am always writing or doodling on something else and then inserting it in. For me, that also alleviates a lot of the sort of stress around journaling that I sometimes have of making it look nice, because I don't feel like, oh, I'm putting this on page in my actual journal. Like I'm doing it separate. And so if I don't like it, I don't have to like live with it. I could just not put it in or redo it or whatever. You know, it's not that big of a deal. And that might seem silly to a lot of people, but for me, that's something that like will sometimes actually be a hurdle from getting me to journal. So yeah, that's very helpful for that. Other things I love to have on hand are envelopes and like these little stationery sets. So I'll sometimes have an envelope and I'll put a piece of paper inside, or I'll use it as like a decoration or something. So that's always helpful. Some scrapbooking paper, which I just like to use again for collaging and layering. This is just some floral scrapbook paper I got on AliExpress. And then lastly, of course, different like post-it style notes. And these I all got on AliExpress, and I just think they're super cute. This one is sort of like a pastel cloud. This one is a blue, like periwinkle blue grid pattern. And then I have this one, which looks sort of like a pastel, like window open thing. I'm good at describing things. So when I showed you a couple of those pages in my journal, another thing that you would probably notice is that I love inserting photos into my journal. And I went through a lot of different like options when it came to deciding how I wanted to sort of consistently add photos into my journal. So I've had an Instax, Polaroid Instax, which I honestly ended up giving that one to a family member because I just never used it. Everyone always calls them Polaroids, by the way, and they are not Polaroids, they are Instax, Fujifilm Instax, totally different brands. It's such a pet peeve for me, but it like kills me inside every time someone says it's a Polaroid when it is not. Anyways, yeah, so I used to have the Instax printer. I actually still have that, but I mostly use that to like print out photos to like put on my walls, and not so much in my journal because they're like thick, so they just are very bulky. I've tried the HP Sprocket, which I like, but it only prints one size, and sometimes I want bigger pictures, sometimes I want smaller ones, sometimes I want to do a collage. So that really didn't work for me either. And then I discovered the Canon Selfie. So this is the CP1300 from Canon. And the way that this works is you buy the printer paper, and the paper comes with, or the ink comes with the perfect amount of sheets of paper for how many times like the ink can actually print. And the printer paper size is basically your typical photo size, but you can do like collages within the Canon app. And so on one sheet you can do like 8 photos, or like a bunch of photos. You could do like really tiny ones, big ones, and that is so helpful for me because I like to do all types of sizes of photos. So it's really nice to be able to have that option. And also like this is not very big, like it's pretty small. It's like the size of my hand, and it's lightweight. That was the other thing, is I didn't want to get a normal printer because I live in New York City. I don't have a ton of space, and this is just so much more portable and easier to use for what I need it for. So I love this thing, and I'm super happy with this. Another thing I love inserting into my journal are little mementos. So I have a bag. This one is from Japan. This is actually a bag that I got at the Ghibli Museum shop, and in it I just have a bunch of mementos from my time in Japan, and also a bunch of photos that I printed out. So here I can show you. So for example, these are some of the photos that I printed out for Disney. And as you can see, I have like all different sizes of photos here, from itty bitty ones to, this is as big as these ones get, but you can obviously print larger. And basically it just prints out a bunch on one sheet and you just cut them out, and it's so nice. So yeah, I love having photos, and I love having little mementos. So this is an envelope I got at the Ghibli store. I have like this one, which was my ticket to enter the, I forget the name of the temple, but it's the gold temple in Tokyo? No, Kyoto. It's the gold temple. It was my ticket to get into that, my entrance ticket, and I kept it because I knew I wanted to put it in my journal. And I'm still going through and doing all my Tokyo days, just taking me a little while, but I'm finally going through and doing that. So yeah, I love having just little groups of items that I can, little like mementos from like a special day or a trip or something that I can then go through and just keep in a journal for memories. Then when it comes to inserting all those memories, I love, so first of all, probably the most boring before I get into the nicer one, this Tombow adhesive like rolly thing is amazing. I've used so many other ones and they're all awful. This one is so good. It doesn't like break down like the Muji one. I've gone through so many of the Muji ones because I feel like you use them a few times and then all of a sudden they break. And this one is just so much more high quality and effective, and I feel like it really sticks things like down and permanently. So I love this. And then you don't have to like throw this away every time. You just get a new like thing of the tape and put that in, and you keep the actual container. So I love that. But of course, I also love washi tape. I get most of my washi tape from AliExpress. I love their washi tape. They have so many different types and varieties and sizes, and they're all so cute and beautiful and inexpensive. So I love AliExpress's washi tape. I put up an AliExpress stationery haul. I honestly haven't bought any more washi tape since then, or really any stationery since then, because I feel like I just got so much, but I love all the washi tape that I've gotten from there. Then when it comes to actually writing in and decorating my journal, I love to use my favorite pen in the world is, and this is such a basic pen, but my fave, is the Muji .38 pen. It's super thin. I love it. Writes so smoothly. Yeah, it's just the best pen in the world, and I have it in all different kinds of colors, and it's amazing. As far as a pencil, I know this is like a weird thing to talk about, but I love super thin lead. So this is 0.3 millimeter lead. It's super fine, super light. I love using this for like sketching and then going on top of that with ink or paint later on. And this pen in particular is amazing. This lead pencil, it was definitely a bit of a investment, but it is the only pencil that I use, and it's amazing. And it's, again, it's great for like just writing, sketching, all that kind of stuff. It's the Graph Gear 1000 from Pentel, and it's like metal. It's great, and it's just so also like nice to use. It's so like satisfactory when you like click it. So I love this. So of course I also love like doodling, sketching, and coloring a bit in my journal. So I actually use highlighters for a lot of my like coloring within journals. And of course I love the mild liners because they're, you know, highlighters, but they're mild. So they're not like as bold and vibrant. And they're really nice if you do like a quick sketch just to like add a little bit of color in a very easy way. So I love these and using these. Now, sometimes I want to be a bit extra and I actually want to paint in my journal. So for example, on this page, I painted on the background of the page itself, just like clouds and hearts, because I thought it would look cute. So I did that with some watercolor, and it definitely warped the paper a little bit, but I kind of like the way that looks. I know that's weird. And I just try and make sure that I don't use a ton of water, because obviously this is thinner paper. It's not meant for watercolors. And same with the mixed media paper. It's not really meant for watercolors, but I love using watercolor and gouache in order to add extra texture and interest. So I thought I would show a couple of my favorite sets. So this is my favorite watercolor set. It's so cute. It's perfect for traveling, whether or not you're watercoloring in a journal or in a sketchbook. It's obviously not like professional grade quality watercolor, and it's not gonna have every color, but I think it's brilliant. Basically, it's this like capsule size. You can use this side to as your water cup to put water in so that you can clean off your brush. And then in here it comes with a little, this has like a little thing of paper. So there's a few different watercolor sheets in here. And then right here is the actual little watercolor palette, and it folds out like this. So you can use these as your mixing palettes, and then the watercolors are here. And it's just so handy and easy to travel with. I love the colors. I think they're so nice. And my preferred brushes for watercoloring in my journal, at least, are watercolor pens. So I got a set of these on Amazon, and basically they are pens that have like an empty tube here that you fill with water, and you squeeze, water comes out the tube, and you use the tip of that for painting. And I really like that because, again, it's really great for on the go, and just if you're trying to do like a quick wash of color or like really fast doodles or things, I think it's really great for that. And then obviously I have other brushes if I wanted to do something a little bit more intricate, but for the most part I kind of keep my watercoloring in my journal pretty simple and just sort of like as accents. Another thing that I've been loving and I've been learning more and more how to use and work with is gouache. So I bought this gouache set from Amazon. It's so cute. It's from the brand it's the Himi gouache set, but it's from the brand Mia, I think. I'll link it down below. But this is what it looks like. So gouache is sort of like the happy medium between acrylic and watercolor. It is water activated, and but it's a lot more pigmented and dense than watercolor. It doesn't like have that nature of like just spreading as much as watercolor does. You're able to do a lot more like acrylic style painting almost with it. I don't know. It's wonderful. I love how pigmented it is and how great the colors are. And I really, really like that gouache palette. It's been wonderful to work with. Of course, I get to the very end and that's when my battery dies. Anyways, as I was saying, I really, really like this set of gouache. I've had a lot of fun learning about the medium and getting to know these colors. I actually just filmed for my vlog a little like journal with me, paint with me moment. So if you would like to see me actually using these or doing a little bit of journaling, then keep a lookout for that. That should be the next video up after this, or maybe one later, something like that. But yeah, those are my journaling supplies. Obviously, you do not need all of these supplies in order to journal. These are things that I've collected over quite a long span of time. All you need to journal is a place to write, whether that's a notebook or a notes app. Wherever in the world you want to journal, that's your journal. So you don't need all of this, but I really like just being extra and creating these fun collages and documenting my life in this way. It's really fun for me. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys if you have any favorite types of journaling supplies, or just, you know, do you journal? Let me know. I'd love to hear about your journaling process, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!